So I decided to do my project over Starbucks. And so for a quick introduction, the goal of this project was to learn the ins and outs of the Starbucks company and how those work, to understand these concepts and theories that we've been discussing throughout class just a little bit more and apply those to a real life situation, that being Starbucks right now, and to also collect this research online. I got all my information from either the Starbucks website itself or other websites as well. The history of Starbucks first opened in 1971 in Seattle. Howard Schultz was the first CEO, and he was initially inspired by the coffee houses in Italy when he went to visit. And he wanted to invoke the same experience that you experience in those Italian coffee houses in Starbucks. And so the main mission was to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. And the vision was to establish Starbucks as the premier purveyor of the finest coffee in the world while maintaining their uncompromising principles while they grow. For my pestle analysis, the first one was political. So Starbucks does have different tax policies that it has to abide by, as well as employment laws. So just like their supplies and things like that will be taxed, as well as the products that they sell. And then these employment laws are can decide when people are working, how long they're working, things like that. Economically, inflation is going to affect Starbucks a great bit based on how much money they're able to charge for their coffee, as well as labor costs. So how much they are paying their employees is going to increase as the years go on, as inflation increases. Sociocultural, so people's lifestyles change, and this can change where they get their coffee from. This is something that can be hard to predict. Most of the time, people are pretty loyal to where they get their coffee, but if they move, if they go to a different place like that, it might just be more convenient for them to get their coffee somewhere else. Technologically, something that has really helped Starbucks lately is the Starbucks app. A lot of people use this app whenever they are buying their coffee beforehand, and then they go in store to pick up their coffee. They can also earn points and stars to use for discounts or free things in the store, things like that. Ecologically, something they do have to rely on are their coffee beans, and this can be affected by climate change, which can be hard to predict. If there were to be some sort of natural disaster, anything like that, that can affect the growth of those beans. And then legally, they do deal with licensing, what can be in products and what can't. Starbucks is a worldwide company, and certain countries have limitations on like how much sugar they're allowed to put in, things like that. And so they need to think about that legally, no matter where they're at in the world. Next up was the SWOT analysis. So some of the strengths that Starbucks have, the biggest one would probably be the brand recognition that they do have. Almost everyone can recognize the Starbucks logo and tell you what it is, what they sell. And that's really important, as they're able to get even just free advertising by word of mouth from different people. People are always going to be talking about Starbucks when they see that symbol. A weakness of theirs is their reliance on the expensive coffee beans. And these coffee beans are what make their quality of their coffee very good. And because they rely on these coffee beans, if they were to go away, things like that, the product would change. And then an opportunity for Starbucks would be, I would say, some sort of brand sponsorship. You see lots of places like McDonald's doing things like the BTS meal, the Travis Scott meal, If Starbucks were to do something along those lines, I think that would be a great opportunity for them. I also would recommend expanding their Asian presence. They don't seem to have too many shops in Asia, and I think expanding that would be beneficial. And their biggest threat is just mainly how many competitors they have. That could be places like McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, but even just local coffee shops around the corner can be very competitive with Starbucks as well. And having so many competitors can ultimately hurt Starbucks. For my internal analysis, first one was operations. And overall, Starbucks is a smooth running business. They're very efficient. And so having well-trained employees being able to run the business very efficiently is important. Marketing, you don't see a lot of Starbucks billboards or commercials or things like that. They do most of their marketing online through social media. And then they also do a lot of advertising their specialty drinks. For the holidays, they bring in certain things like the pumpkin spice latte, the peppermint latte, those things help bring in more customers. For human resources, they expect effort out of their employees. And they also want to stress to them that it's okay to take criticism. That's really the best way to improve, is to learn that sometimes it's okay to make mistakes and it's okay to take criticism. Ultimately, you can get better from that. But they also want to treat their employees well. So they have many benefits for the employees, and they're really good with burnout, things like that. Financially, this past year, they're not doing as well as they were expected, but they are still doing well. They expected to bounce back from COVID-19 very quickly. Unfortunately, that didn't happen as much as they wanted, but they are still doing well, as Starbucks is a very big company and they're still getting many customers and new customers every day. For Porter's 5 forces, the first one would be their competitors. Their biggest struggle is that their competitors are going to offer more products, whether that be McDonald's with their burgers and French fries and things like that. That's a weakness of theirs with their competitors. So they need to keep their prices low in order to stay with those companies. Those other competitors are able to offer prices lower than Starbucks. So if Starbucks were to increase their prices by too much, this would not go well. They could lose many customers. The power of suppliers. Starbucks is a larger company, so they do have access to more resources than local coffee shops or things like that. And that's very important. Their coffee beans, however, do come from a specific place. And so that supplier is something that can hurt them if it were to go away. The power of buyers. They do have lots of competition, so these buyers can go to many different places. However, they have created brand loyalty, and many people are very loyal to Starbucks, saying they will only drink Starbucks coffee. They won't drink it from anywhere else. The power of newcomers. They sell a common product. So it's easy to get to sell coffee, but it would be hard to become as big as Starbucks is. They have become very large, and it'd be hard to become a company like that. The power of substitutes. This will be higher if Starbucks were to increase their prices. Like I said, it's easier to have lots of competitors that you're able to substitute coffee, which is more coffee. However, they do have a higher quality, but if they do increase those prices, people will tend to substitute more. Their overall strategy here, so they have many strategic resources, such as their good customer service, and they train their employees very well, and they do have good finances. They have a lot of money as a company, so they can use these finances to improve and expand the company. Their competencies, so they're third place. What this means is they like to think of themselves as a third place for people to gather. So that could be, the first one would be home, second one would be work, third place could be a Starbucks. So that would be a thing they like to promote, this third place environment and the environment that is created when you enter a Starbucks. and then they have a high quality product. So this is something that they can use for their competitive advantage that helps bring them, um, just it helps the competitive advantage out a lot. And then their sustainability is something that also benefits them. They've been lately promoting their reusable cups. This people are able to purchase a cup for a small amount. And then if they bring the cup back, they do get that amount of money back in return. But this helps with their sustainability and not using as many cups. And then they've also say that they want to halve the amount of carbon emissions that they are producing in when they make their coffee and in their stores. So that's something that they are doing. And then their main overall strategy, what we would call it, is differentiation. So they offer high quality products, high customer service. They're able to charge more because they do this. And then the reusable cups is something that does set them apart from others and helps their competitive advantage. But their biggest challenge, as I mentioned, is their amount of competitors, how many other people are selling the product that they're selling, and keeping their prices down is challenging for them as well because they offer high quality. You want to charge a high amount, but there does become a point where people are no longer going to buy from you if it gets too high. And then in conclusion, Starbucks has many good strategies of differentiation. They're able to keep their quality up and they're doing well. But in order to keep those prices down, I'd recommend promoting that third place atmosphere that I was talking about. This is something that costs them no money. Their atmosphere that's created, they don't have to sell any tangible products or anything like that. And I think that third place atmosphere is something that could be beneficial. I see a lot of people hanging out in Starbucks on their laptops, things like that. So able to gather, I think, brings in more people as well. Therefore, you're selling more product. And I would also recommend promoting products that you're not able to find at other places like McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts. And that would be their refreshers or something that I think is very unique to them. They also sell tea, which is common with the refreshers. A lot of places do that, but not a lot of local coffee shops will do that. They'll sell just mainly coffee products. So these are some recommendations I would have for them going forward. But yes, that is all. Thank you very much.